Hello again everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the channel. If you're new, you're checking us out for the very first time, watching the videos and the content, then do hit subscribe down below. If you enjoyed today's little video review and first look, then don't forget to give us a little like as well. And as always, share your thoughts down in the comments below. So, nestled to the northeast of the city centre of Bayreuth, close to the A9 and A70 German motorways, we've got Bayreuth Airport, a towerless runway at the moment, and it's got history that spans back to World War II. It's a General Aviation airport. Previously, many years ago, it was Class D airspace, and used to have connections to Frankfurt Airport as well, but it's nestled in a really beautiful part of Germany, loads of rolling hills, beautiful countryside, and Bayreuth itself falls within Bavaria, a region in Germany, and sits in the valley with the Main River, with some mountains off in the distance. The town's routes itself, according to Wikipedia, good old Wikipedia, they fall back to 1194, which is quite fantastic. So there's lots of history here within this region. Bayreuth Airport itself is nestled on the top of a hill, and it's really stunning actually to fly around this part of the world. It's got 3 grass runways and an asphalt runway. We're of course going to land on 06 grass to check this out for the first time. And it's just coming into view. Here we go. Strangely very bumpy. And let's get on those brakes. So from the outside looking up, the runway textures are wonderful here. As we're going to touch down, we've got all the grass runways to the left hand side here as well, in addition to a couple of little airport environmental objects and a small static aircraft off in the distance. Situated on a hill, that in itself can create its own little microclimate and gusty conditions and things, similar to Bristol Airport actually in a way. It can make it really interesting. There is part of the terminal building, and I'm going to talk to you about one of the hangars here in a short while too. Now, Simulations for the first time in their sceneries have created some animated people walking around in the airfield, so we're going to go and find a few of those. Full price of this usually €17.40, although on occasion they will have a load of sales on which we can all enjoy. So looking down at the far end of the airfield, we can see a couple of different static models, and the runway dropping off the edge of a cliff effectively. That's the landscape that we can expect and enjoy with the scenery. It does look stunning around here. Beautiful part of the world to go and explore in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I'm sure you'll agree. A couple of hangars, not sure what that's supposed to be. It doesn't look that great, to be honest. And I would like to see that maybe improved just a little bit to make it look like it's supposed to be there and supposed to look like that. Here's a couple more hangars as well, with the texturing on the tarmac looking quite shiny. I like what they've done with the tarmac actually, showing lots of different textures and light reflections on various portions of it. And a little bit more General Aviation static parking too. Starting off with the animations, let's have a little look at MSFS. Here's a little terminal area slash bar, I guess, and some people animated for the very first time for some simulations. A little airport restaurant. animated flag, as we've just seen, and of course some of these are very excited to see us, high-fiving and doing all sorts of cool animated things. The umbrellas themselves actually got really nice decals on them. And I like the recency touch here as well, with the requirement to wear masks and things like that too. Having a look at some of the signs, that is really well made. Beautifully crisp. Moving away from the restaurant itself, all those folk enjoying the British Avgeek PA28 livery, we've got a static aircraft jet parked up, and what can only be described as Stretch Armstrong stood next to it on guard. Moving across to the General Aviation terminal area, what we're seeing at the moment is the spawning points really for where you're going to be able to pick in the world map. And there's going to be a feature actually, the hangar behind this building, that I really want to show you guys. If we pop in then to the terminal area, we've got a check-in area with a couple of people in the queue and a couple of signs. And actually, it looks pretty good for an interior, in my opinion. I'm never really a fan of interiors, you guys know this, but it's nice to have a bit of life inside the terminal area itself. Without sacrificing performance, that's the important thing. Moving across towards passport control, there's a couple of the toilets. Bizarrely, they've actually modelled those in, love it. Fantastic, and there's the passport control screening area too. And there we are. That's the downstairs area of the terminal building. There's a bit of a mezzanine as well, with a couple of people bimbling about on the roof area, and of course a tower with the happiest controller in the world. He's obviously just turned up because he's happy to see that we're flying in for the day. It looks quite good from a distance, and there is the very special spawn point that I wanted to talk to you about. You can actually spawn inside this maintenance hangar, and it looks fantastic. A couple of people hanging around, bimbling, and there is a air point and general sort of maintenance area. This is a really cool little place to start your journey. I mean, look at that. Heading outside, we've got a couple more statics. And then we've got a few more hangar areas, as you guys can see here, with what looks to be some static models inside and some solar panels on the roof. Now they're, by the looks of it, default Asobo AI statics. Little bit strange with the engine animations being actually moulded in, but I don't think simulations can actually prevent that, so I'll give them that. And there's the solar panels on the roof. They look quite cool. Let's see what they look like from the other side, of course. Oh, look at that. Very swish. They look really realistic. Very realistic. Moving away from those areas, we've got a couple more generic hangar buildings. As you guys can see, little taxiway hold point. I think some of the textures are probably a little bit too shiny. In real life, if you look at the satellite imagery, it's a little bit less glossy than it looks on the scenery at the moment, including the taxiways. So I think I'd like to see simulations update that a little bit, make it less glossy, shiny. You guys get the gist. And there are grass runways. Got a couple of different strips there, marked of course by the white indications. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's one runway, there's the second, and there's the third. At night time then, with the glare of the hangar lights that's what the scenery looks like from the outside. There are a couple of observations that I'm going to talk about, actually, having done a bit of research on Google, some of the images and things. The fighter jet should be a really old sort of MiG type jet aircraft, so it'd be nice to see that improved to be a little bit more accurate and true to life. And having done a little bit of research on Google, for what this building looks like in real life, I actually don't think he's done a particularly bad job of this. It does look almost like it does in real life. So as you guys know, we do get a winter season, and it's not uncommon for most parts of Europe to end up experiencing some snow as well. And being higher up, probably fair to expect there to be a bit of snow in the winter region here too. So we're checking out some of the textures. You can see the volumetric lights are reflecting off the runway surface somewhat there. We've got a bit of light snow with quite a bit settled on the ground at the moment. Grass runway, of course we can't see that. That's a given. But that'll make it really interesting actually to operate in and out of this airport. In real life you wouldn't land on the grass with weather like this, so that's fine. I wouldn't expect that to have an exclusion on it. All in though, it looks pretty good actually, and it looks like they've excluded and cleared the areas that need to be cleared, i.e. the runway, the taxiways and certain parts of the apron. I'd probably like to see some of the exclusions here to be a little bit less sharp. Everything's quite square, so I'd like to see that a little bit more of a human style clearance to it, a little bit more rough around the edges perhaps. Very similar actually to the way that bit there has been completed. I'd like to see that sort of thing across the rest of the apron. Look at the terminal building in snow. That looks wonderful. Does look really good, that. Checking out some of the live weather then at Bayreuth, we can see the textures actually on the runway and the apron look really good, and as I would expect them to look, having taken a little gander, little look at the satellite imagery via Google Maps. So that's a really good job by the developer. I think it'll probably need to work on the glossiness of it for those particular days where there might be elements of rain, but otherwise all in all very nice, and really nice bit of scenery for those of you who love a bit of general aviation here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Bit of live weather at the moment. It has been snowing in areas around Bayreuth and it looks beautiful. I mean, look how fantastic that is for a little bit of a region in Bavaria. And I can highly recommend the scenery. It does look really nice. It works really well in the sim, and it's a perfect base for a bit of German exploration, for some fantastic VFR flying, or even some private jet hops too. Look at that beautiful scenery down there. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I hope to see you join me for a live stream in the very near future. Take care.